We are very proud to announce UMP Trading is an official partner with a proven profit track record.
Yeah, if you want great returns on your investments, be sure to check out UMP Trading.
Hello everyone that's tuned into our channel, American Ultra Stock. Here we are today, reaction to the United States game. It just happened, USMNT played. I'm joined by Braden and Jeff. I'll go to Braden straight off the bat. What are your initial thoughts right after that game? Fresh off the oven, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who didn't watch the game, I'm sure the scoreline looks serviceable, but yeah, I'm fighting back the urge to go on a rant here because that's one of the worst games I've ever seen us play. Honestly, I mean, it started off so well. I mean, with the goal, and even before that, when the roster came out, I mean, it looked like Greg had finally turned a new leaf. He abandoned all his MLS lifers and actually called up a good roster for once, and it had me excited. And I guess that's my fault for getting my hopes up, but. Yeah, I mean, we started the game off so well, and we ended it off well too, but apparently they forgot that there's 80 minutes in between to play and kind of just passed it back and forth, went down the wings, tried to spam crosses like we've always seen with Greg, and it's just disappointing for me because it shows that Greg clearly hasn't made any tactical changes, although I will say, to his credit, the subs that he made really made an impact. Once Aronson, McKenzie, and Tillman came on, I think the game really changed for the better for us. So I will give him credit for that. But for the rest of the game, I mean, the tactics were the exact same we've seen with Greg forever. He didn't try anything new. We have to start with a 10 against Oman. Or if we don't, I mean, it's just not looking good for our future.
Yeah, I completely agree and understand everything you said. I mean, there's not much for me to say. I'll go to Jeff, but Greg Ball is back, and I'm just going to say, based off of the form that some of our players have been having, I think we are on the up in general, and it seems like they got infected with Greg's tactics, honestly. It's ridiculous. It seems like they weren't creative. I mean, look at Pulisic, look at even Dest. They're having, they're probably in the best moment of their careers in a really long time. You can make an argument for McKinney as well. I mean, sort of a better situation, but this is what happens. We got infected. Jeff, what are your thoughts on Greg's comeback and this game?
Yeah, so all right, I'm just gonna talk about the roster first. But the first time when I saw this roster, I thought Greg would have finally changed as a coach, letting go of his favorites and stuff, actually calling up a good roster. And I had a hope when he gave us preview in that press conference yesterday, naming the usual players. And making some drastic changes by saying that either Luca de la Torre or Tessman were going to play in the 6 because that's important because Adams wasn't called up because of that injury. And yeah, I had really high hopes. And before the game, I said to myself, I expect at least a 5-0 win. When I saw the lineup and when we started, in the first 20 minutes, we were looking somewhat decent. And when Weah scored that goal, I was like, all right, this might be a comfortable win. Turned out to be the opposite. For the rest of after the goal, things were falling apart. Pulisic, he was struggling against the defenders. Who else? Balogun wasn't getting involved. McKennie was giving balls away. Dest, we had to rely on him and Jedi to attack and push forward. Also, Luca de la Torre, he was actually looking pretty decent, pretty good. Before, unfortunately, when he got subbed off, and Musa was trying his absolute best to do something, but couldn't either. And Uzbekistan even got chances in the first half that we had to rely on Turner to bail us out. That shot that the number 3 took with his left foot, and when he shot it top bins and came off the crossbar, honestly thought that Uzbekistan were gonna try to ease their way out with capitalizing on the chances that whenever we were on the ball. And yeah, in the second half, it looked a bit better, honestly. We started creating more chance. We started to, attack more. And, once again, we had to rely on our fullbacks to push forward. But Tessman, what a stinker of a performance. What a shocking performance. It was awful by him. I knew that, starting De La Torre was the right choice since he's more experienced than Tessman on this roster. But yeah, Yuri, he looked pretty bad. I was really disappointing. in the chat, many were saying that he's a fraud. Yuri lied to us. Maybe these performances in Serie B aren't cutting it out for him on the national team. But yeah, as soon as those changes came on, like Mackenzie, Aronson, Pepe even coming on, we looked a lot more better. Aronson for once played good in the USMNT shirt. Can you believe that? He actually played good. And yeah, Pepe, of course, doing his thing, his best, scoring goals. He actually looked a lot better than Balogun. And I told you guys, he's not going to give up easily just because we got Balogun on this team. He's not going down without a fight. And I have faith in him that he can potentially even become our starter.
All right. Well, I'm just going to say, in terms of the Balogun criticism, I saw some people saying, I'm just going to blame it on Greg. Honestly, I think it's pretty clear for us to see that, like I said before, our players got infected with the way that he plays. And, I'm going to cut off some slack that I gave Sargent back at the World Cup. I don't think there is a way of playing with a 9 or having a prolific 9 under Greg with the way that we play. I'll point out to what Braden said as well about us not having a 10 against this type of national team. It's really worrisome, as well as the fact that he's still relying on this 3-man workhorse midfield, which I don't think is going to get us anywhere in terms of good results. We're just going to be always the same. There's no way we punch above our weight playing this way, playing this system, this formation. I just don't see it happening. In regards to Tesman, yeah, I don't think it was a good performance. I don't know. I don't think it was horrible either. I think it was whatever. And Pepe, props to him. But again, I can't give much credit or discredit to these players. I mean, Greg I saw McKinney saying that he never saw Pulisic so happy lately. Well, I guess we saw him pretty sad, and that's what Greg does. Braden, what are your other thoughts about the game? Anything specifically tactically? Any patterns that we saw from us that you wouldn't like to see, or anything that you would like to see differently besides this crossing and no creativity through the middle?
Yeah, so going on the tactical side of things, I do think Balogun's performance, I'm going to put it down to Greg. I mean, yeah, he was bad. Yeah, he should have scored that header from 6 yards out. I'm very disappointed that he didn't finish that. But regardless of that, he just didn't get the ball. And it's because, like I said earlier, Greg's tactics, he never changes them. It's always this stupid verticality thing. Go down the wing, get crosses in, and maybe eventually one of them will work. And the fact that we scored so early on probably made Greg think, okay, we're fine. We can just keep doing this all game. And after we scored, I mean, there was just no creativity at all. There was no attacking output. Honestly, we were lucky to even be winning going into halftime. I mean, Turner made a big save. They hit the crossbar. We honestly could have very well lost this game. And yeah, Pepe scored. Yeah, he did better than Balogun, but that was because, like I said, the subs completely changed the game. And once the subs came in, once Aronson and Tillman were both in, we were playing with that 4-2-3-1. We were playing with the 10. Tillman and Aronson were kind of switching like out with each other. One of them would play out wide, one of them would play with the 10. And it really opened things up, and we saw that with Aronson getting the assist to Pepe. So I think if Balogun was in with the 4-2-3-1, he would have had a lot better of a performance. So it's a good goal by Pepe, but it shouldn't really change our striker depth too much. And I just want to say quickly, Jeff bashing Aronson for saying he was only good once. I mean, he's our most consistent player in qualifying, so that's all I want to say there.
That doesn't make a difference with how he's doing right now, is he?
I mean, he just got the assist to seal the game, so I think he's doing fine.
All right.
But anyways,
all right. Yeah. I will shut up about what I'm saying about Aronson if he performs really good against Oman on Tuesday. All right. But yeah, credit to Aronson, he did really good.
We'll see if he plays.
Well, before I jump on to Jeff, I just want to say it's amazing how when you try to be creative and put players like Aronson and Tillman, players who can play the 10, try to do something from the middle and orchestrate plays through the middle, not just this crossing shenanigans that Greg loves. It's amazing what can happen, right? So, I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but if I was, I would say that Greg purposely had a really good roster, purposely called all these guys that we wanted to see, play these tactics just so he can say, well, they're not that much better than the guys I like, right? So, yeah, really disappointing. Jeff, what are your takes on the tactical side of the game, or things that you really would have liked to see and you didn't?
Yeah. Before I go to the tactical side, can we just talk about how predictable Greg is with the style of play? Like, this man is honestly really allergic to playing in the through the middle. Like he doesn't rely on his. You think with the midfield with the 4-3 he's playing, he'll rely on the midfielders, but he isn't. He's relying on fullbacks once again. And to mention, they're not even wingbacks, so how can you really utilize them perfectly as you want to set up the formation? You know, it's like our wingers don't even exist. Like at this point, just play Destin and A-Rob as right wing and left wing, and you know put Pulley and Weah at fullbacks. You know that would work so much better since you're already using them up top. And you know, and what worries me though is that if he's gonna keep up with this system and playing the 4-3-3, every single time we face opponents like from CONCACAF, their only way to be able to you know counter Greg is just by covering the wings and forcing him to play through the middle. That's what worries me, because you realize if he's playing on the wings, but he utilizes the right so much more. He uses Dest and Weah to create on the right more than he uses Pulisic and Rob and Jedi on the left. So that's what concerns me too, because he likes to play only on one side and not throughout the whole pitch. The only time he really has the players playing on throughout everywhere on the pitch is by switching the balls, you know, creating different plays if the right side isn't working. You know, that's what worries me. And for crying out loud, really play with the cam, switch up the formation, have BJ maybe take up the reins and just, you know, have the tactical side sorted out so that we don't look like a mess out there. Because at one point I saw Jedi in the midfield, I saw Pepe out on the left, and even in the middle of the game he had Pulisic and Weah switch sides at one point. Well, that's because you know, to get Pulisic into the game since he didn't look good today. So, but yeah, and one thing you could really rely on, Greg, is to make good substitutions. And with this roster that he called up, it just shows that the amount of depth that we have is the thing that will save us if, you know, the current 11 isn't working.
Yeah, good points, Jeff. I'm just going to say that this is another positive that I can kind of find. I don't know if I'm being too negative, but I can't even credit Greg for that, because we have, for the first time, I think it's not for the first time, but it is definitely the best depth we have ever had. So this guy is bound to make good substitutions because the subs are good. So can't even give him credit for that either. And yeah, I mean, final considerations, my final thoughts are this game is basically a write-off. It's sad to see the way that we're playing. We're not going to have that many tests before we play Copa America, which is a competition that I think we realistically should try to win. I know it sounds crazy, but that should be the goal. You might aim for a win and end up in the semifinals. Everyone's happy. So, I mean, final thoughts, Braden, things that you want to see change ASAP before the next game, and do you think they will happen?
Yeah, like you said, it's just so unfortunate. Like, we have so little time before the Copa America. I mean, you could say, oh, it's next summer. I mean, that's a whole year. Yeah, but international windows only come so often. So there's a very limited amount of games, and to have games that don't really solve anything for us like this one, it's just kind of a waste. And I think our next window, I think it's in October when we play Germany and Ghana, is going to be so crucial, because Germany are at the worst spot they've been in I don't even know how long, maybe ever, honestly. And you know, Ghana are a completely new team. They had the best transfer window of anyone during the World Cup, picking up so many new players from other countries, you know, dual nationals like Iñaki Williams, Tariq Lamptey. And I mean, yeah, if we can put up good performances against them, it's good for our chances. But if we don't, and we just fail to capitalize against a good opposition like we always have with Greg, it's not a good sign for Copa America. And yeah, I mean, this game didn't mean anything for us. We didn't learn anything. I'm hoping that maybe the B team, our subs, will play and start against Oman, because then maybe we can at least see some of the new guys. We can see Lund play a full 90. Maybe Kramaski gets some minutes. Look at some of the new guys on the roster. Maybe Tillman plays a full 90, and just see what they can bring to the team. Because starting our A team against these no-name countries, it just doesn't really solve anything. And it's like, okay, if they play well, cool, that's what they were expected to do. But if they played bad, like today, questions have to be asked about the tactics, about the players. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see any motivation out there, which is supposed to be Greg's one thing. So, yeah, it's just not good signs for us.
All right, I'll go to you, Jeff. And also, Jeff mentioned something before about switching balls, BJ. That a lot of that must go on at USSF to come up with this decision of Greg. They probably switch a lot of balls between themselves. Jeff, what are your final takes? And what would you like to see differently for next game? And do you think it'll happen?
Yeah. There are some things that I would like to see differently. For next game. But if you guys remember, Greg doesn't only play the 4-3-3 formation. I would like to see a 3-4-3 or maybe a 3-4-2-1 because those are the other formations that he is also a fan of. And if we play with wing backs like with the 3-4-2-1 or the 3-4-3, he'll be able to utilize our fullbacks Jedi and Dest better than how he utilized them today. That's one thing I would like to see. And another is maybe bench Balogun. Might sound dumb, but bench Balogun and start Pepe for next game, since we already know how Pepe plays under Greg. And yeah, maybe start Aronson instead of Musa. He looked because Aronson actually looked really good today, so I'd rather that happen. And yeah, those two should start. Yeah.
All right. Well, I agree with that, because even though, again, kind of a write-off for Balogun, and you guys know I think I'm kind of critical of Balogun sometimes, but what more does Pepe have to do to start a game? I think he has earned it by now. But yeah, I mean, thank you, Braden. Thank you, Jeff. We tried to make this video nice, and I think we did really well in not going into full rage mode, because I mean, Greg is really just disheartening. My final thoughts are disheartening. I don't look forward to the cycle. Obviously, I do because of what we're gonna play, but I'm not optimistic at all anymore. And yeah, BJ should be back. It's just really sad, but thank you guys for watching. Please comment down below your reactions to the game if you think that we were too negative. Granted, we are doing this right after the game, but I think we actually kept it pretty clean, to be honest. And yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, and share with your friends. See you next time.
Yeah, and I also try to be consistent as much as I can. But if I can't and I really want to join a video, please don't be critical of my smoke detector. I really want to join these videos. And I'm not always going to be able to be in my balcony, and especially if there's bees, I'm not going to be able to, focus completely because of an allergy. But yeah, it's good to be back. Yeah, thank you guys for watching.